Hey lovelies, thanks for stopping by my channel today. I'm not gonna lie, I'm sort of here just because I really loved my makeup and I was like, let's take advantage of this beautiful makeup and do another video. But I am also here to talk to you about eyeshadow palettes. I'm excited to try this video out. I was actually just talking to my friend Stephen Ford about this. I was like, I really want to do another video. And he's like, you should do the would I repurchase? So that's exactly what I'm doing. So thank you, Stephen. And I have just randomly pulled out a few palettes. I think I have like 5 or 6 here. So basically, this is just me revisiting these palettes and deciding if it was gone out of my collection or if I could rewind and go back in time. Would I repurchase these palettes? Would I spend my hard-earned money on these palettes once again? Now, if we haven't met before, my name is Kelly and I'm a professional hair and makeup artist, and here on my channel I strive to keep beauty real. Real honest, real relatable, and real fun. So if that sounds like something you'd enjoy, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Speaking of not future videos, but previous videos, if you do want to see this makeup, it's in my recent video. I will make sure to have it linked down in the description box in case you want to check it out. But let's talk about these eyeshadow palettes. All right, so let's pull out a Colourpop one, right? We all have some Colourpop in our collection, most of us anyway. Let's talk about the Honey palette. So this was a love of mine. I love a good yellow moment. You all know that. I really enjoy yellows, bright colors. But, and I've talked about this before, I have the Glam Shop Citronata palette now, and I think that one just trumps this one. It totally trumps this one because it has brighter, more pigmented shades. It has a little bit more depth. Let me grab it so we can compare. Okay, so I'm very gently going to hold this one up because if you saw my recent video, I was talking about traveling with this one recently and she got a little sensitive and a couple of the shadows fell right out. So we're going to be delicate with her. That is probably the only thing that the Honey palette has going over this one is it's not quite so sensitive. This is a little bit harder pressed formula, but you can see, I mean, I just have more options with this one. It doesn't have quite as many neutrals, but you know, I can always just pull out a neutral or two to be able to use with it. So if I had it to do all over again, I don't think I would purchase this one. Yeah, I don't think I would. I mean, it was a decent price. It was pretty inexpensive. The Citronata palette came into my life later. And you know, sometimes that first love just isn't your true love. This one's my true love, but this one got me through for a while. So I'm keeping it because I do like it. And I think, you know, you get a softer look out of this. And I know everybody hates on the pressed glitters, but I actually love this. I think it's a lot of fun to work with. So I will probably still grab this on occasion when I'm looking for a little bit like softer yellow moment, but I remember when I used this palette, I really had to work to build the yellow, or I also bought the Super Shock shadow that came out with this collection, and that at this point is like dried out. I decluttered that a while ago, but I really had to work at building this one, and I don't with the Citronata palette. So I'll keep this for like a softer wash, probably just to like play with every now and again to compare it to some other palettes. So I'm not necessarily getting rid of it, but I don't think I'd repurchase it again. Speaking of getting rid of it, let me just say that there's a difference between something that I want to declutter and something that I wouldn't buy again, right? Like, am I the only one? Like, just because I probably wouldn't purchase it again doesn't mean I don't like it enough to keep it. And I will be doing my eyeshadow declutter very soon. I know I keep talking about that, but it just takes some time to get like a good setup. Life's been crazy, and there's been so many launches that I feel like are like imminent to talk about. You know, me going through all my eyeshadow is not a time-sensitive matter, other than the fact that it's getting a little cray over here and I really need to make some room. So Honey is a not again for me. So now, on the completely other side of the price range here, let's talk about the Danessa Myricks Lightworks Volume 3 palette. This is the Infinite Light palette. When did this launch? Last fall? Was it the fall? Honestly, I don't even remember now. So this has these 4 kind of like iridescent, I'm not going to call them multi-chromes, but like, let's say duochrome highlights, and then you have these shadows, and you do have like a really interesting glitter texture shadow in here, a couple like creamier shadows. So first of all, I have not utilized this enough, and that was part of why I pulled this out, because when I saw it in my stash and I was like, yes, I'm gonna get this palette out and talk about it because I need to use it more. I haven't really used it recently. I definitely could utilize it this spring and summer. There are a couple shades here that would be, you know, kind of nice to play with, and definitely getting out these highlights again. So I enjoy this, and you know that I have a soft spot for Danessa, and I don't regret purchasing this. Would I repurchase it? What I need to do is, this is maybe cheating, but what I need to do is use it more to really decide that. And that's why I need to pull into this, is like, I think I would repurchase it again. I don't necessarily think that there's anything in here that you can't get from other brands or that you can't get out of other palettes. But I did love playing with it. I had a lot of fun with it. I definitely need to reach for this more. So right now it's a yes, I would repurchase, but boy, I really need to like get it out and utilize it if that's the case. All right, this is one that I've had in a previous top palettes for spring video. This is the Venus XL2 from Lime Crime. I bought this, so I had a friend that had this, and I was like kind of drooling over it. And then at one point, I think it was at Ulta, and it was like 50% off, plus I had a coupon. You know how that goes. And I had to snag it. Now this is a very pretty palette, which is exactly why I put it in my spring palettes video. The thing about this though, I mean, and I'm sure you can see here, honestly, you could probably get rid of a third of these shades. I mean, when you look close, they are all different, but it's so close in tone. Like you have the dusty olives, you have the dusty roses, and you have the like soft nudes. So I just feel like there's not a lot of contrast in this palette, and every time I use it, it's a beautiful soft wash of color, but that's just usually not my vibe, and I do feel like some of these shadows, I don't know if it's just that the palette's getting old, but the shimmers, you really have to work to like build them up on the eye. So if I was more of like a soft wash of shimmer kind of person, maybe this would be something that I would repurchase again, but I just wish it had a little more wabam, because, you know, since purchasing this palette, I've definitely what is, somebody who is like super grammatically correct, what is it? Since I have dove into indie brand makeup and the beautiful, crazy, bright, beautiful, like high gloss shimmers, I just get underwhelmed by some of the other brands. And I've never bought any other Lime Crime. I didn't really like all the like drama behind the brand and everything, but this was just one that I just needed to get my little itchy fingers on, and when it was like half off plus, I just had to try it. But I enjoyed it. It's a little too soft for me now. I don't think that I would repurchase it again. Now here is a little baby that I would definitely repurchase again. I'm so sad that you can't get this anymore. This is the Wet n Wild Coffee Cat palette. I mean, the packaging on this is pretty cheap, but the shadows inside perform very, very beautifully. So you have this beautiful warm color story. This is where Dirty Camel came from. This shade right here, it's totally not Dirty Camel, but that's exactly what I described it as. So you've got this beautiful Dirty Camel shade and these shimmers. So this is what I'm talking about. Like these shimmers, I mean, it's not like, you know, Sydney Grace by any means, but you definitely get a little bit more shim out of these, and it doesn't have much of the scent anymore. It didn't smell like coffee. It smelled good, but it didn't smell like coffee. But this one, I just love. Every time I pull this out, I'm like, yes, I create beautiful, warm looks out of this. I love this palette. I think it was like $9.99 maybe. It was definitely worth it. I would definitely purchase it again. There was another palette that came out. It was like ice cream something around this time, and it was a little bit brighter colors. I don't know anything about that one, but if it was as good a quality as this one, I almost wish I had snagged it. But this one is definitely staying in my collection, and I would definitely repurchase. All right, so here we have another warm neutral palette. This is the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. This one I got half off. I believe it was at least half off. It might have even been half off during the Sephora sale. So this is one of the big spendy ones. I like this palette. The thing is I don't think that there is anything super special about this. Like, the shimmers are pretty, you know, you have some nice mattes in here, but I don't know, every time I pull this palette out, I just feel like, is this a different formula than Natasha's newer formulas? Like, I'm just like, okay, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I pull this out and I'm like, okay, like, I got this half off or half off plus. So would I repurchase it at that price? Yes. Would I purchase this at full price? Hell to the no. But I feel like other than, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like other than this yellow and obviously this like light shade, which honestly is doing like nothing, it's like kind of a shimmer. It's like a satin. Other than those two, I mean, maybe the red too. Anyway, the overall vibe of this, I think you could get in the bronze palette. I don't have the bronze palette, but I feel like that vibe you could get out of this, and that's a less expensive palette. It's the smaller pans, but I just feel like you could get that vibe for a cheaper price. So would I repurchase it at the price that I got it? Yes. Would I purchase it at full price? No. If I could do it again, would I swap it out for the bronze? I don't know, honestly, because I have this one and I have a lot of like warm tone palettes. I've never actually gone through and like swatched and touched the bronze palette, so maybe I would. Maybe I would, just because I like the like little bit smaller compact. This, like with these type of like foamy palettes with the magnet, I find that you have to be very careful when you open it not to put too much tension on the foam, because the foam starts to like separate, and you can see this is like a hot mess because you can't really like wipe the shadow shrapnel off of this foam. So it's a little easier to clean up a plastic pan, but that's it. That's all I have to say. So did I even answer that one? I'm gonna just move on. All right, two more palettes. So here we have a somewhat more recent palette. This I bought on Black Friday. This is the Odins Eye Norns palette. I definitely took advantage of the great sale that Odins Eye was having on Black Friday and picked up a few things. So this palette, I've used it twice. I've only used it twice. Here's the thing. Every time I pull out this palette, I look at it and I go, oh, here are some pretty shades. And then I'm like, but what do I do with them? Like, I just feel like I either need to pull out another palette to have some different shades to like ground some of these combinations, or like I need maybe a little bit lighter matte to like blend some stuff out. That's the thing. There are like no light mattes in here, so I always feel like I need something to like give it a little blend. I mean, I guess this is lighter, but like that like grayish kind of like stormtrooper shade, I don't know that I would use that a lot other than like to blend out a smoky eye. So I don't think I would repurchase this. What I really am kicking myself in the butt for is I did not get Judy's palette from the Legendary Diversa. I did not get that one, and I wish that I had gotten that and not this. That's what I wish. Yeah, so kicking myself a little bit. This is a pretty palette. I just feel like every time I pull it out, I have to pull something else out with it, which isn't a big deal, but I also, it just doesn't inspire me as much to like do some combinations. So if you use this palette and you love it, like let me know what you usually like to do, because I just feel a little lost with this one. So I got it for a good deal. I'll definitely need to play with it a little bit more, but I kind of wish I could do a swapsies. And of course now Judy's palette isn't available anymore. So a little bit of regret here, but not because it's not good quality. All right, one last palette. It's a beaut from the drugstore. This is the Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. You all know how I feel about this one, but I did want to talk a little bit about this because I think it's great for spring and summer to pull out. This is like the beautiful kind of like rosy tones that I think it's like kind of like a sister palette to the Jungle Lights formula, which is all more like vivid tones, more of your like jewel tones. This palette, I mean, right now, let's think about it. We have the Patrick Ta new palette, that's all rosy tones. We have the Lunar Beauty one, that's got some rosy tones. The Sigma Mod, that's rosy tones. And usually I feel like we're all like, ooh, rosy shimmers. And it's like, or you could just pick this one up for like way less money. I believe that this palette retails for around 15 bucks, and you can always find a good sale. Either Flower Beauty's having a sale, Ulta has these palettes on sale quite a bit. I mean, these are just beautiful. If you have not seen these, I'm going to swatch a couple of these shades, and these definitely have a creamy, creamy consistency. Sorry, I've got a little bit of staining from the Natasha Denona that I put down before, but like, can you see that? Look how much those glisten. Like, oh, So pretty. Buyer beware though. I know that several people who've ordered these palettes, the Desert Lights and the Jungle Lights, they say that they came broken because the shadow is so soft. I ordered mine from the Flower Beauty website, I believe, and I did not have any problem with it. So I just know that I've seen several people say that they came shattered, but I love it. And of course, I'm sure that they would like, you know, send you another one if the case be, but this is beautiful. I definitely recommend it and I would definitely repurchase it again. All right, this was a fun little chit chat about some eyeshadows in my collection. Let me know if you enjoyed this. If you want to see my thoughts on more palettes in my collection, I could do another one of these in the future. I really enjoyed this. It's nice to kind of like revisit some of what you have in your collection in like bite-sized amounts, you know, like kind of going in, revisiting, remembering some of the palettes that you want to pull out more. I definitely need to pull out Danessa again soon. So thank you so much for spending your time with me. It really means a lot that you take some time out of your day to spend it with me. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, if you love eyeshadow palettes and you like hearing about my thoughts. I hope you're all having a wonderful spring, and if you have any of these palettes and you agree with me or you disagree with me, let's have a conversation down in the comments, and I'll see you really soon.